Hello everyone and welcome to Total War Through the Ages. In this episode, we're going to be covering the next large push in our northern offensive, and I'm really excited about it. As you can see here, we are landing this army right here, which is going to be one of the, kind of the second prong of our spearhead. I guess that would be a trident head if it's multiple prongs. But anyway, we're going to be attacking the settlement directly north of Massilia. I believe I'm saying that correctly after a couple people pointed it out to me that RK, a longtime viewer and friend of mine, he pointed out that I've been mispronouncing the name of Massilia. I've been calling it Massilla instead of Massilia. So I believe it's Massilia. I believe that's at least closer to the proper pronunciation. So here we have, I'm just kind of gathering some more forces around to add to that army that just landed there, and we're going to be pushing it to the north. And then this army, we're actually going to be sitting east over into northern Italy and kind of be acting as a new army to push up from more northern Italy farther to the east. So that's kind of the plan. I don't remember how that actually ends up. It's been a while since I've gotten this far. I've actually played a lot ahead of here. But the other big thing we're going to be doing is, unfortunately, there is actually no real significant battles in this episode. It's mainly going to just be campaign stuff, and that was for one very important reason. I actually kind of screwed up, and I'll bring that up. It has to do with this stuff right here. So sorry about that, I had a cough, but yeah, here we have just auto-resolving a bunch of these battles because they're all really one-sided. I don't have to worry about it at all. This is also my faction leader right there as well, leading the offensive in the northwest. And we're also we will actually be dealing a little bit with Cordoba because we do actually finish capturing Cordoba because last episode we fought the battle where we destroyed the enemy army that was there outside of it and also defending it mostly. So now it's more just a matter of just actually finishing the siege out and auto-resolving that, which we will be doing. But meantime, as you can see, we're sending that army back over to kind of our home territory, and we're going to be besieging Lugdunum. I'm not sure I have no idea how to pronounce that one. Lugdunum. Again, not great with names, so I do apologize for that. Otherwise, we're going to be blockading this port. It's actually pretty funny. I sent my fleet there just to blockade that port because I didn't really have anything else to do, and I actually ended up getting a Senate mission just this next turn, as you'll see, to blockade that same port, so that was kind of lucky. And here we have, I actually go ahead and launch this assault, and we auto-resolve it because they don't have any guys, and we capture this place. But there's a giant Spanish army that you probably saw me looking at just north of the city, so I'm gonna get all my guys and leave. Now, I'm still debating whether or not this was a good idea, because obviously on the one hand, I don't really feel like giving the city up to the Spanish without a fight, but the flip side is I don't want to lose this general and the remnants of that army to a enemy force that I no way I'm going to be able to defend against. So I figure it's just better to kind of retreat and let them take the city, and then we'll take it back from them. You know, it won't be that big a deal. It is a little kind of annoying because it's like, well, we just captured it from the rebels and all that stuff. But again, at the end of the day, I didn't want to lose my general in that fight, and I wasn't confident at the time that I could, with that tiny force, actually defend the city from a very large army. Now, this is the actual big part where I actually screwed up this episode. I started this battle off because this one was, I probably could have auto-resolved it, but I was like, I'm not 100% confident in auto-resolve. It has screwed me over in the past, so I will go ahead and fight it out. So I was planning on going in, fighting this out, and I do. However, as you can see here, I leave all my deployment. I left my deployment in partly to give me time to talk about this. So I deployed here. I get my deployment all set up, but then I got interrupted when I was recording this episode right after I finished up my deployment. So like right at the end of my deployment, I get interrupted, and so I hit the record button. I stopped recording because to save space and stuff. I do that, and it's also I usually keep the recordings in fairly short 20-30-minute increments. Sometimes I go a bit longer than that, but usually I try to keep it relatively small so that if any one file gets corrupted, I won't lose that much footage. So I stopped the recording, and then I left, had to go do something that was, I got interrupted. Someone, you know, hey, I was needed something and I couldn't wait, so I had to go, I had to stop. So I stopped the recording. I came back, fought the battle, and once you know, though, I actually forgot to hit the record button before I started the battle, before I actually started and played out this battle. So I did actually play this battle out, and I won, because again, the odds, I did have a pretty significant advantage, but at the end of the day, I still wanted to fight it out. So I win that battle. I actually even forgot to record the victory screen or anything. And then we had this battle. I got attacked immediately afterwards again, and I just auto-resolved this one because it was a very large advantage. So again, I do apologize for that. I just missed to hit the record. I forgot to hit the record button before that. And that does happen sometimes from time to time. I'll forget to hit record, but it's actually happened a couple times already in this series where I just has forgot to hit record. Now, thankfully, in the previous times it happened, it hasn't been very serious. Like, it was just while stuff was going on that, you know, on the campaign. So it wasn't like during a battle or anything. Or actually, one time I actually forgot to hit the record during my deployment before a battle. But again, that's not as big of a deal because I can just tell you how I deployed instead of actually having to show you. So overall, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was, you know, this was a little unfortunate. The battle wasn't that interesting. It was a pretty straightforward battle. The most interesting part about that battle, though, is they had a lot of chariots, which was one of the reasons I actually fought it out. And overall, it was just an interesting battle because they had so many chariots. But otherwise, it honestly wasn't that big of a deal. It was a pretty easy victory. And here we actually have very interesting thing. I don't know what the AI was thinking, but as you will see, that giant Spanish army, it's gone. They left. I basically offered them the city for free, and they left. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and land these mercenaries back over and have them send them to the city, and kind of we'll see what happens. But otherwise, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's weird. The AI, I would have assumed they would jump on the chance to take a city for free, but I don't know. For some reason, they decided they didn't want to. So we'll see. We'll try and take it back, and hopefully we'll be able to take it back and get the walls repaired and get a substantial force garrison there to defend it before the enemy Spanish army comes back. And here we have auto-resolve. I thought it would have been an easy victory for an auto-resolve, but I was wrong. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Honestly, it's really hard to judge unless it's like a case like right there where it's just overwhelming odds. It can be kind of tricky to tell. Like even if you have an advantage, but it's only a slight advantage, it can be difficult to trust the auto resolve. Like even right there, potentially I could have gotten screwed over, but I actually kind of just sped through that because at this point I was on a roll. I was like, okay, I just auto resolve. Let's go. Now we do have rioting in Cordoba, obviously, because we don't have any actual forces garrison there, but overall, we are going to try to get some mercenaries there. And like I said, I hope the plan is to try and get a substantial garrison back to Cordoba. I think it's actually called Corduba or something. It's the Latin form of Cordoba, because I did actually look that up. So the goal is to get an actual proper garrison at Cordoba before the Spanish can actually send a massive army back to attack it. Oh, hey, look, we're the largest faction. But unfortunately, I don't know if I was worried because I didn't know if I was going to get the army there in time, and that if I'd be able to actually like hold the city. But I am going ahead, and since I have control of it, I can go ahead and have the walls be prepared before I even get a garrison there. So we are going to go ahead and land the army and try and get it back into the city to defend it. Now we did actually get the mercenaries there, so we do have some kind of garrison, but unfortunately the mercenaries on their own is not going to be nearly enough are not going to be nearly enough to hold the city from a substantial force. Now, this was a very interesting thing happened here. The Brudii had an army just like kind of kicking around in their pretty close to their home territory, and they just saw this rebel army that had been camped outside of my city for a while, and they decided to attack it. And I got dragged into this fight, and I really didn't want to. But at the same time, I didn't want to leave the Brudii there because, hey, I mean, they are trying to deal with the rebel army, which is, nice. So I go ahead and fight this battle. And this battle was very, very uneventful. I mean, the Brudii actually almost lost it because I was so far away when I came in with my reinforcements. So I had to kind of charge my cavalry in ahead of time. But this battle was actually some really good practice for me because my infantry were so far back that I was really just using my cavalry. And of course I didn't have control of the Brudii infantry. So this actually was really good practice for me to hone my skills at being able to use cavalry effectively in battle. Now, obviously, right there, my unit did rout. That wasn't too great, but I am able to kind of like practice maneuvering my cavalry around, getting flank charges off, charging them in, drawing them back out. And I did get to practice that a little bit in this battle. So that was actually pretty useful, and I am glad in hindsight that I fought this battle, because as you can see there, it was some good practice. I feel that it actually helped me improve a decent amount in terms of using my cavalry well, because I think I haven't used cavalry particularly well in this campaign so far, largely due to the fact that it's taken me a while to actually start really trying to do the whole thing. I've had several people who are experienced Rome Total War players tell me, you got to charge in with your cavalry, but then pull them out. Don't leave your cavalry, in there to get fight. So charge them in and then pull them out. And so it's just, to me, that's taken me a while to kind of start actually doing that properly. But I am getting better at it, and we'll see in some future battles a ways down the line, you actually notice me start to really get the hang of it, and I really feel like I've gotten better. But that's all the time we have for this episode. This is a bit of a shorter one. Hopefully next week's will be a bit longer, or next episode, not next week. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Be sure to check back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for Total War Through the Ages. And as always, thanks for watching.